Hey Freedom Leaders, just want to give you some updates of what's happening in the fall when it comes to Freedom Groups. This past Monday night at 6:30, we had a Freedom Group Leaders meeting. And for those of you who are not able to attend, this video is for you, but a lot of people had an issue with their correspondence for the emails that came to you for this meeting. So do me a huge favor, each and every one of you. If you did not receive any of the emails pertaining to this particular meeting that happened on Monday night, check your emails, your spam and your junk mail. I just want to make sure that all of our emails are correct in the system and that everyone is receiving all of our correspondence. It's also recorded in our group in My Calvary under the Freedom Hub, so you can always go back and look at that information. So some exciting things that are happening this fall for small groups is all around the theme of freedom. So freedom groups are going to be taking a front seat to our small groups this season. What does this mean for you? We are in need of as many freedom groups as we possibly can get for all of our campuses. So if you've ever led freedom in the past, I encourage you to lead one this fall. Find a co-lead that you trust that's led, maybe one that's led freedom with you before. But we are looking for men's freedom leaders, women's freedom leaders, and co-ed freedom leaders, as many as we can. Our goal for our 3 closest campuses are going to be 25 freedom groups. So each campus has a set goal for freedom groups on their campus, but all together we want to see at least 25 freedom groups across our campuses. Our Freedom Encounter this year is going to be spectacular. We are moving it into the sanctuary, and we're really excited about that, and I'll tell you all about that in just a moment. All right, so dates for freedom. All of our small groups, including freedom groups, are going to begin on the week of August the 22nd. That means signups for freedom groups will be the week before, the week of, and the week after that. And small groups for freedom only will continue through a 12-week format. We are not going to be combining weeks this session. We're going to give every single week its own week, its own theme. So we're not going to be combining weeks this time. We tested the waters out this past session, and it worked beautifully, and we saw a lot more interaction and a enbigger impact by not combining the sessions. So we're going to be going from August the 22nd through November the 13th. The Freedom Encounter has been set for November 12th and 13th. Go ahead and mark it on your calendars now. Go ahead, and if you have to block off that time at work, block off that time at work, because as a freedom leader, we need you. We need as many people praying at the altars as humanly possible. We need as many of our freedom leaders as host team as humanly possible. We're even needing some intercessory prayer team members that can only be people who have gone through freedom. So we are needing you for this. We're expecting it's more than just our 3 campuses going to be joining us for the Freedom Encounter. Our Sea Life campus is going to be joining us, possibly our Racine campus, and much more. So it's going to be a good size encounter this time, and we need all hands on deck for that. We introduced our new leads for freedom at our leadership meeting, and their names are Heather and Luis Martinez. So they are coming alongside of me for the next few months, learning the ropes of all of the inner workings on the back end of how groups are made, and learning all the group leaders and getting to know each and every one of you, as well as helping with things like fundraising, you name it, when it comes to freedom. So you'll be hearing a lot more from them as the months progress. But we'd just like to welcome Heather and Luis Martinez. We're so excited to have you both on our team. All right, we have a brand new look for freedom that's coming out. We are redesigning our freedom logo, our t-shirts that will be given out at the Freedom Encounter. So you'll start to see those pop up as soon as signups start. We'll have areas designated in the foyer for freedom with our new logo, so it's really exciting. We also have our old freedom t-shirts. We have tie-dyed them, all the extra ones that we had, and we've tie-dyed them, and we are selling them in the campus resource and bookstore. The tie-dyed ones are $20 a piece, and the red ones are $15 a piece, and all proceeds go towards the Freedom Encounter. So if you'd like a tie-dyed freedom shirt, you can find them in the bookstore. Our goal, like I said, is 25 and over, and that also means that we're bringing some new people along. So we're training new campuses this season for Freedom, and we have some special people going to be joining us in Freedom this session too. Our youth and young adults will be going through Freedom. We're really excited about seeing all of our kids and our middle schoolers going through the process of healing and going through that process of understanding who God is in their life and walking it out through the freedom journey. Very, very, very excited about that. So some new things that are happening with Freedom. We are working through a couple of new things here at the church. We're creating a discipleship process, a new discipleship process, and Freedom will officially be a part of that discipleship process. So those of you who have been serving on the Freedom team as a leader or a co-lead from the beginning, you have helped pave the way. So thank you, and I pray that as we're going through our Freedom groups over this coming semester, we're going to gain more Freedom group leaders as we go along. So man, I'm telling you, it's a good time to join Freedom. As our groups progress, one thing that we're really wanting to hone in on is getting as many people through Freedom as possible, but not for numbers' sake, but for health's sake. We want to make sure that our teams are healthy. We want to make sure that the people who serve at Calvary are healthy. So if you are a team leader in any way, shape, or form, or you are serving on a team, encourage the people around you that have never gone through Freedom to go through Freedom. People who go through Freedom don't serve the same. They don't lead the same. They serve with a new sense of purpose in them and lead with a new sense of direction. And that's what we want to see for the people in our teams. I've asked the prayer team personally on all campuses if they have not gone through Freedom yet, that we want to see them go through Freedom. For small group leaders, the first step to leading a small group is going to be going through Freedom. It's a necessary part of our journey here at Calvary to understand the process and to really be aware of the things that are going on inside of our heart, and to ask God to come in, take out the junk, and put the good stuff back in. So let's talk a little bit about Freedom Encounter. Freedom Encounter this year is going to be November the 12th through the 13th. It is a Friday night and Saturday in the main sanctuary. So we are going to be going all out for this thing. It's going to be a little different than what we've seen in the past. The structure will be pretty much the same. We have 8 complete sessions for people to be a part of, going from Pride all the way to the baptism of the Holy Spirit. We are also looking at doing a water baptism the Sunday after the Freedom Encounter, which should be pretty phenomenal. I'm hoping that all works out. But in the midst of it all, we knew this was going to be a little bigger. We needed to be in a bigger space. So I have reached out to our amazing worship department, and we're going to have a full worship team for this Freedom Encounter, and the sessions may be a little bit larger, but that doesn't make them any less important. So we're really excited about what God's going to do, and I fully believe, and I'm fully believing right now, that once our Freedom Encounter is over, it opens the windows of heaven over our campuses and something comes out that we have never experienced before. But here's the big thing. Like I said before, we need you. We've come to the understanding in our Freedom Encounter sessions that as many freedom leaders as we possibly can to be praying in the altars. We are in need of those. The more people we have, the longer it takes to get through those ministry sessions. So now that you know what the Freedom Encounter dates are, I want you to plug those in on your calendars. If you have to take off work, we totally understand, but we encourage you to try to do that because it is a very important part of what we do. I'm telling you, you will not regret it at all to see people's lives changed for the glory of God. So in preparation for this, we thought it might be a great idea for all of our campuses to have a training day for the Freedom Encounter, since it is going to be a little larger than normal and so many new people coming in to be a part of our teams for this. So October the 23rd, it's a Saturday, we are going to have a Freedom Encounter training session where we're going to go into the sanctuary. We're actually going to walk through the process of it, practice the prayer points, because we have a 4-part prayer process for each and every person and going through all the logistics of the weekend. So October 23rd at the Ormond campus, put those in your calendar. So here's something else I want you to just to make you aware of. Be in prayer. Be in prayer for freedom groups. God spoke to our hearts quite a while ago that freedom was going to be an integral part of what God's going to be doing in the house, especially throughout this season of revival. And the enemy wants nothing more than to take people out, including you as a leader, to give you every excuse under the sun of why not to lead a freedom group, why not to be in one, or someone not to be in one, and someone not even to follow the Lord. So be in prayer. Take some time every day and pray for a couple minutes. Lord, be on our freedom groups. Lord, give us a passion for these people. Lord, bring the right leaders, in the process of it all. Whatever it takes, we're willing to do. But on top of that, if you're willing to take some time, maybe once a week, and fast with us. My husband and I are personally fasting for this freedom season. I know Luis and Heather Martinez are also personally fasting periodically through this season for freedom. And I'm fasting and praying for you that God will work whatever he's got to work it out for you to be able to lead, as well as whatever it is that you are in need of in this season. I'm praying and fasting that you see God's hand in those things. It's so important. And there are some things that we won't see those answers without prayer and fasting. The Word of God tells us that. And we want to see people walk in freedom. I was telling the people in our meeting on Monday night, I said it would be absolutely terrible for us to go into a service like what's happening in Calvary right now, and for God to be moving so mightily in our services, and the moment that people leave, they don't know how to walk out what they've just experienced. I know without a shadow of a doubt that God has allowed freedom to be on our campus for this time, to help people walk out the revelation that they are encountering on a Sunday service. This is the follow-up. This is the next step, is freedom for people. And just imagine what would happen if our entire campus, our campuses were free. We're free, just something for us to be praying and fasting and thinking about. So just know this. If you're wondering or questioning whether or not we need freedom leaders, we need someone, yes, we need you to lead. We need you. We need as many freedom leaders as we possibly can get. So something new that is happening on our Ormond campus only. So we've got some major renovations that are coming up. One major renovation would be the foyer. So the foyer is going through a major overhaul in the months of September and October. With that in mind, and with other campuses utilizing the main campus for rehearsals and practices and meetings and things like that, and team nights for different departments, our campus is very limited on days that can be open for small groups to be on the campus. So what we have done to try to alleviate that is we looked at a day that we knew, after talking to pastor, would be a day that maybe a service would not necessarily be called, one that was open, that there weren't many things happening on the campus. And the one day that we found was actually a Monday night. So we're going to be deeming on the Ormond campus only, if you want to lead a freedom group on campus. Now, if you want to lead it off campus, you can have it any day that you want to, wherever you want to. It's totally up to you. But if you're going to have your group on campus, we are going to do freedom on one night of the week, and that will be Monday nights. So there's a couple of different ways that we're looking at doing that. So if you're interested in leading a freedom group on campus at the Ormond campus, that would be on a Monday night only, and you'd be partnering with me and Pastor Jeremy, and we've got some ways that we're going to work out rooming and placement and all of that kind of stuff. So take a moment, feel free to email me and say, hey, I'm interested in leading a group on Monday nights. What would that look like? Just email me at liz@calvaryfl.com. All right, we need both men and women, people who would be willing to do gender specific and some co-ed. All right. And we'll talk about that together as we find out who will be on that list of people to do Monday nights. For small groups in general, we're going to try our best to try to stay off campus if we can, knowing that there are some groups that still do meet periodically. But for freedom groups only that are going to be on campus, the night for that will be Monday nights. But again, you don't have to lead yours on a Monday night. If it's going to be off campus, you can have it any night of the week. What we are going to ask is that you try to stay clear of Sunday nights, because if a service is going to be called on a Sunday morning, it's probably going to be for a Sunday night or weekends. So Fridays and Saturdays have a tendency to be a tough time where people can come to a group. But again, if it works with your schedule, it works with your schedule. We totally understand. All right. So just to let you know, lots of things are going to be reflective in services. You're going to hear a lot more about freedom from the platform. So be understanding in that. Just a couple of things before we get to our next steps for people. We talked also on Monday about when it comes to allowing people into your group, when it comes to how those groups are formatted. Here's the thing. We are asking that every freedom leader have a co-lead. And the reason is we should never, ever, ever have to cancel a freedom group. All right. It breaks up the consistency. It makes things very wonky. And not to mention our timeline for freedom this session to go through all 12 sessions is very tight. So we really won't have the opportunity to be able to cancel a session. With a co-lead, you can release the authority to your co-lead if you need to take care of something, if you get called into work, or if there's an emergency. Having a co-lead or even two co-leads will benefit you greatly so that you don't have to worry about your group being taken care of. So here's another thing. Co-leads have to have gone through freedom and an approval process. Freedom leaders also go through an approval process as well. We don't play games when it comes to freedom, and not everybody is suited to lead a freedom group, and we're okay with that. And we're okay with going the extra process and the extra mile to make sure that we've got the right leaders in place. We don't want to rush what God is doing. I don't want to walk ahead of him. I want to walk with him. Okay. Okay. So in the process of it all, just be mindful of that. We do not open it up for people to lead or co-lead freedom groups. We search for those leaders. So while you're in your group sessions, I want you to look for those people who would do well to be a co-lead and you think would really benefit from leading in that next step. Okay. Another thing we have got to make sure that we keep very close eye on and be very strict about is after week 4 of freedom groups, we close all freedom groups. And what does this mean? This means that no one new is allowed to come into your freedom group. Please do not allow people to sit in freedom sessions outside of week 4 just because they're a friend of yours and then they're in town, or they are, just wanting to check things out. After week 4, that cannot happen. And I don't want to be a stickler on it, but we kind of have to. What happens in those moments is when someone new comes in and relationships have been built and trust has been built. The moment you put someone new in that is somewhat of an outsider to those people, some people will want to close up and not talk and not open up in those group sessions. We want to alleviate that kind of pitfall or that open door by just being very firm on that. Everything is open. They can come and check things out until you start week 5. So after week 4, that's pretty much it. And we don't allow new people to come into freedom after week 4 either. It's really difficult for them to get caught up. By week 5, we go into those heart blockages. But the thing is, you can't deal with the heart blockage until you've dealt with the foundational issue. And by then, they've got 4 weeks of makeup homework. And I hate calling it homework. I always call it devotion work. But they got 4 weeks to try to figure that out outside of a group, which makes it very difficult for people to walk things out. So we're going to be pretty strict about that. We need you to make sure that you are taking attendance. Of course, this is all upkeep stuff now. Your attendance, and this is for any small group, please take attendance on the day or the night that you meet with your group. It helps us keep our data tight, and we can look and see how things are going at a moment's notice. If you're waiting a week to 2 weeks to turn in your information or turn in your attendance, it's really confusing on our end. Not to mention we have to reach out to you and make sure that everybody is taking their attendance. It gives our numbers really skew, keeps them askew. So we want to make sure that they're nice and tight. We see what's going on. Also, when you take attendance, there's a place in your attendance bracket or in your attendance on the Lead app as well as your email for you to be able to put in things like prayer requests. We want to know what those prayer requests are. If someone's in the hospital, we want to know about it. All right. Also, there's also a place for you to give praise reports. We want to know what we can celebrate about. If people in your group are finding healing and God is just wrecking their world for the glory, I'm telling you, we want to know so we can celebrate those things. So just be mindful of that. Okay, so we get questions a lot about what is the next step after freedom. Someone goes through freedom once, they're like, okay, what's next? What's next? Well, there's a couple of next steps. Number one, go through freedom again. We tell everyone, don't go through freedom just once. The first time you go through freedom, it becomes awareness. But the second time you go through freedom, you're able, because now you're aware of those things, those issues that you have, you're able to go even deeper into what God is trying to do in your life by peeling more layers away. Freedom, I think it's essential for people to go through freedom at least twice, if not 3 times. But there are people who've gone through freedom 4 or 5 times. My husband and I, we lead so many freedom groups. We've gone through freedom about 16 times, which I hope that means we're free. But, every season of our life, life throws us curveballs and the enemy tries to come in different ways. And the thing I love about this curriculum is the attachment to the Word of God that it has keeps it living and breathing. That no matter what season of your life that you're in, it's going to speak to you in that season. And people need it. People need it. So go through freedom again. And if there's an issue in your life that you've gone through freedom, but you still seem to have this, there's this stronghold that you just cannot get out of. There's another option for 4 people, including yourself, all right? And that is something called Restoring the Foundations. Restoring the Foundations, or we call it RTF for short, is a program and a process. It's kind of like freedom, but condensed. So it's a 2 to 4 hour session where we denounce and renounce demonic strongholds over our lives, where we pluck out the junk and put the God stuff back in. We even go through a process of revisiting memories where a certain root might have taken place and asking the Lord to come in and restructure those memories. And it's in a very small setting, so it would be the person who's needing the deliverance session and 2 leaders. The leaders for those sessions are highly trained. They are certified in the process of it all. Our team is small, but it's growing. But if you are interested or know someone who might need RTF outside of freedom, freedom would be the first step to RTF. You can email Tegan, Tegan, at calvaryfl.com to set up an RTF session. They will send you a worksheet. It's a questionnaire. Going through freedom actually helps you identify the things that you need to write in that questionnaire. So if that's something you're looking into or know someone who might need that, RTF, Restoring the Foundations, might be that next step. So next step, go through freedom, RTF. Maybe a next step for someone is to co-lead a freedom group, or if it's a co-lead, maybe to lead a freedom group. So there are multiple steps. We are also working on other steps within this discipleship process. So they are coming, they're slow, but anything worth doing is worth doing right. So we are working on deeper parts to this discipleship process, just like we're working on newer parts to the discipleship process. So just a quick shameless plug for this. We have a new believers curriculum that we're working on right now. It's we're doing live sessions on our Calvary FL online Facebook group, and we call it Simple Start. Just the simple foundational basics of our faith. And we're in part 1 right now. So we have gone through how to read your Bible. We're also going through the Trinity in itself. This coming up week, we're going to be talking about the church body as a whole and what our responsibilities are as a church body. So feel free to go and watch those videos anytime. You can't share them just yet because it is a pilot series, but it will be making its way into a new believers curriculum, and a part 2 will be coming up very shortly. So in the process of it all, we need you. We need as many freedom leaders as we possibly can get. I don't think I've ever put an APB out for freedom leaders like I am this session, but because we are theming this whole fall as freedom, we need you. Feel free in this email, if you will, to go ahead and fill out this registration form for freedom and be a part of what God is doing. I can't wait. I'm so serious. I can't wait to see what God's going to do through the course of freedom. It's going to be amazing, and I cannot wait to see the change that's going to happen in this house as people go through this process, and you are a vital part to that. We can't do this without you. We cannot. I wouldn't want to. You know, our freedom leaders are some of the best leaders we've ever had in our entire lives, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. So please consider leading freedom this session, being a part of what's happening in this house, and let's let revival flow. I love you all so very much. If you have any questions, you can email me at any time at liz@calvaryfell.com. You can find me on Sundays. You can message me on Facebook or Instagram, you name it. But I love y'all, and I'm here to answer any questions you might have and to help you walk through the process. So, love you. Can't wait to see you soon.